Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for stopping into Two-Handed Board Gaming. My name is David, and today, before us, we have a lot of cardboard to punch. So I haven't really decided on what we're gonna call this, but no, I think essentially what we have here, I wanted to get all the I want to get the cardboard components out and show you, the viewers at home, whoever you are, just how much cardboard actually comes with Shadows of Brimstone games in general. A lot of tokens. They are token heavy, card heavy, and how I go about storing those after I've unboxed everything. So it's sort of a multi-layer process. And then I figured what we could do is also talk about the different tokens as we're going through. So for those that don't understand or want to learn more about the game, we can sort of speak more to it and give you a little more information to go on, so that you'll be more prepared when you do start playing or continue playing, or just want to know something about some random board game you just happen to stumble upon. All right, now that being said, so the plan is. So this is all coming from the Gates of Valhalla set. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 sheets. 9 sheets to go through here. And so I give you sort of a real-time view of how long it takes, at least me, to punch these out. And not saying this is going to be the longest video ever, but we'll see where we go. So let's, I guess, for lack of better words, let's get stuck in, because it's going to take a little bit of time. All right, first sheet. Okay, and I guess as we go, we'll just sort of open up our rule book here so you can sort of follow along with me. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I do have an organizer up here. This is just a plastic. I think I found this in the fishing section of the local Walmart, and I have a number of these that I use to organize different board games. I find these work really well, specifically for Shadows of Brimstone. You need quite a few units to store all your tokens and sections here. I find these do pretty well. These come as let me show you here. They come connected, and so you have to cut the connectors off. I've already done that, and I've already placed the dividers in the storage unit here. This is what we're going to use to store the tokens as we go through, and so I'll just keep it up top here, and then I'll keep it somewhere, whether it's in the shot or off the shot. So okay. But yeah, let's take a look here. Okay, so the one thing I'm gonna just no certain order, but I've come across this token here. I don't know. I've looked through the rule book. The one thing I see is it says additional counters. Several additional counters have been provided. Most of them are used for specific missions or for upgrading aspects of the expedition camp, unlocking or leveling up camp locations. So I haven't found the mission yet, or I haven't found what these are associated yet with. So we will sort of put those all together in a section. So I'll go ahead and punch those out. But I suppose those will probably be maybe mission centric. So then I would find a section of where I want to put like mission centric tokens. And I think for me, I'm going to go ahead and put them in this first section there. Same thing here. I believe this Librarian Prime that may be an upgrade or might be related to mission centric. There's this other sort of alien technology. It looks like almost like a suit of armor, or a piece of a robot or something. So I'm going to put that in there as well. There's also data core, same thing. And then these pylon crystals, punching those. Again, those are sort of, I think, all the mission or the upgraded locations that have to do with those. Okay, so now I see this archive towers token. Archive towers are a type of enemy, usually, and as I was saying, I think if you saw the unboxing, they do have miniatures for these, but since I don't have the miniatures, at least here, I actually do have the miniatures in another set. I will put these, I'm going to put these away with also the, I'm going to probably put these in a section that will include the tokens for the tentacles. So I'll maybe place them up here in that corner. Okay, for now we're left with a lot of the main tokens that you'll see. So grit is very important in Shadows of Brimstone. Grit is a resource that you'll use, that every hero you'll gain and use to get rerolls. A lot of these can be used to activate powers or abilities. Grit is very, very useful and important for many characters. Let's go ahead and punch all those. So I will have a grit will have its own little section. I'll put those in this little corner up here. Oops, I'm mixing them up, I see. Okay, so we've got our grit out. And we may have we may have more tokens as we go through that have more grit. Okay, rage. Rage is a mechanic that I think is in other Shadows of Brimstone games, but I believe it's very centralized for Gates of Valhalla. So your Viking heroes can build up rage and as they take damage, and as you build it up, you can unleash it, and add extra damage to your own combat rolls as well. And so you can see there's quite a few of these, so you can see there's gonna be a lot of rage going on. And I would especially think that the Berserker will have a rage-centric focus. But for right now, I'm going to take all these rage tokens, and I will place them also in their own little storage area here. And, yep, a lot of rage tokens. So just punching them out, and they punch really easy. I have had issues in the past where I've had a few of them, tear here and there, but I'm not always the most careful when I'm punching. I try to, get through them as quickly as possible. Okay, and then we have a wound token here. There'll be lots of these, so I will place these wound tokens. I'm going to use one of these bigger sections here. You'll see more of those. Wound tokens are there to mark your enemy's wounds, and then, of course, your hero's wounds, so you'll see quite a few of those. And then you'll notice next we have a little section here. This is meat raw, and I'm going to just because this is a new, I'm not seeing these before. So meat, discard to heal D3 plus 1 wounds, but also take 1 corruption hit. So I guess if that is consumed maybe without cooking it, right? So you could take some corruption by eating the uncooked meat. And so for these, I will also have their own section. So we're going to take all the raw meat, and I wonder if on the opposite side it has the cooked meat. I would assume so. And it does. You can see on this opposite side, you have the cooked meat portion. So I think I'm going to place these guys up somewhere in this top corner here. I'll do all our meat tokens, and then we have ale. So we'll punch all our ale tokens, and there'll probably be more of these. Ale can be discarded to heal D6 sanity, right? So you'll be taking wounds, and you'll be taking sanity damage, and why not? Ale definitely can. It keeps us sane, right? Ale, a little whiskey, whatever it is, right? So, and I believe whiskey is also used in the Western themed Shadows of Brimstone. So, all right, almost there. Almost punched this full sheet, and then I do want to see, because I didn't look to see what this was. This symbol here is the archive markers. These markers are used in the Targa Plateau world, and it represents the data that the alien library has collected on the heroes during an adventure. Interesting. Okay, so we'll punch all these. And as I was saying earlier, they do come off pretty easily. So I like that aspect. All right, one sheet down. Let's look. Maybe we, guess for now we'll put them next to the rage tokens. Okay, right there. Okay, this one's got a few different things. We've got these pelts, and pelts are things that you'll be able to collect and I believe trade in or sell for money. And then now you're seeing that we also have our dungeon tiles. So we'll punch our little wound tokens here. We're just going to add all the wounds in the same section. And now we're going to need, oh, look at this. We have a throwing axe. Throwing axe is new as well. I'm not seeing these. So throwing axe, discard to throw. I'm sorry, discard to throw as a ranged free attack. Range is strength +3. Shots is once, basically one shot. Does D6 +2 wounds, uses melee to hit. That's cool. I like that. All right, so let's put the throwing axes up here. And then let's look at our pelts. So pelts, oops, sorry. Let's punch our pelt markers here. Pelts are gained by hunting and defeating beast enemies. They can then be used in the camp for trade. There are 2 sizes of pelt markers for singles and 5 pieces. Interesting, cool. All right. So these are some 5-piece pelts. And then I think pelts should also have their own section. We'll probably put them here on the end over there. We've got another little oxen character. I'll put that here. And then the rest, you'll see are dungeon tiles. Let me go ahead and move that out of the, sorry, move this token that I've already punched out of the way. Set that aside. And then we can look at this real quick. So you can see this is sort of like a main map tile here. It's got 4 sections. I'm going to go ahead and just punch it out. And it's double-sided. So you're going to have the Norselands on one side. So it's sort of like this icy tundra area with trees and frosted over ice. And then on the opposite side is the Targa Library. So that is a very cool. So we're going to just put that over here. We will punch all these, and then you'll have these little end caps. So these end caps are meant to block off block off ways that you can proceed, because it is a sort of a randomly generated dungeon, because they have cards that are, so when you get to a location, there may be only, and you'll roll to see which way you can leave. So you'll cap off the ends of the direction that you're not able to proceed through. So just like that, that's how those go on. Real simple, real easy there. And again, they're double-sided that would be the Target Librarian on the other side. So I'll set those over here, set this over here, and then we'll continue punching the rest of those. And then what you have here, this is going to be your portals. These are to your other worlds. So typically you would have one of these that would take you, would be pulled as you're exploring, not always. But when one of these comes out, you can then transition, and you're always normally you will start, for example, in the Norselands, but this could take you to the Target Librarian or other places, depending on if you have some of the other expansions and other Brimstone content and games. So love that feature. Love this. It just makes it so robust of a game. So I'll put those over here, and I'm separating them as I go along. And then we are, so this one's gone, this one's done. And then this sheet right here seems relatively the same. We'll go ahead and punch our wounds. Again, more portals. Those are all double-sided. Another tile that very much looks like the same as the one we just used or came across. And then our end caps. Get all those punched. And what I typically do with the terrain is I try to keep them, the small end caps, I'll usually rubber band those together. And then the tiles I just stack so that they're with a similar size tiles. Here's some more furs, or pelts, I should say. Another throwing axe, another end cap. There we go. Okay. All right, that one's done. All right, 2 down. Oh, sorry, 3 down. That's going by pretty quickly. Okay, now what we have here is a good little variety of tokens and terrain or dungeon tiles, and then actually part of our camp. So these two are parts of the camp, which if I can pull and show you here, these are locations that are going to be, you're going to be able to build on to your Viking camp. These, your camp won't start with these, so you'll have this trade cart right here, which now I'm seeing those little oxen seem like they might go with that. And then you're going to have your Viking forge. You'll be able to forge different weapons, armor, items. And so when you get enough, when you've spent enough or you've unlocked these, you'll place them here on your camp. So it's a really cool feature. I like that. So these 2 items for right now, I'm going to put them in this big section here, and I'll probably put other items related to the camp in this bigger section. So, all right, we'll take our Viking camp out of the way. Let's put that over here. All right. Now, what you also will see is this Darkstone. Darkstone you'll gather, and that's one of the main elements of Shadows of Brimstone. The Darkstone is incredibly powerful. It has a lot of value. It's corrupting, but it can also be used to enhance weapons. And so it is one of the, it's essentially, it's worth its weight in gold or more, so you'll come across Darkstone, you'll utilize Darkstone, you'll take damage from Darkstone or corruption. So be aware of that. I'll place the Darkstone. I think I'm going to place the Darkstone right here. It's a little section. We got more. And place all that here. Okay. And then you'll see here that we have different sort of character tokens. And these represent the sexes or the male, female versions of your characters. And typically what these are used for is doing a random. So if I had a few of these characters, I'd have these set aside and I'd flip them over and shuffle them up. And then I would use these when I want to decide who the enemy is going to attack or go for, if there needs to be a decision like that. Sometimes cards or events will need to identify a character, and so this is one way to sort of decide that. You could roll a die, but this is also another way. So we'll have all these together. We'll put all of these. Let's see. We could put them over here for now. I'm not sure. I may have their own section. And then left this Darkstone out. Let's go ahead and put that one right there. And sorry as I adjust my mic just a little bit. And then these, okay. I think these are up. Correct. Remove all damage. Okay, yeah. These are used to identify the locations on your encampment that have been upgraded, because you can upgrade them to the second sort of phase and third sort of, so those you would put on your card here to identify, if I'm not mistaken, different sections that have upgraded, like expedition supplies might be upgraded to 2. So just more tokens for that. So I'll put those in the section I have for the Viking encampment. And then this last is a token here. Sorry, not a token, it's a map tile. This has it looks like almost like a fissure going down the middle of it. And then it's going to be double-sided, so that it has a very unique event. Oh, that's cool. There's some of those, I think, Trun Guardians. I think they're Truns, if I got that right. Okay, and just so you know, there are advanced rules. so that when you encounter this particular tile, it has a card associated with it that you can use for each game. I like that. It's sort of like a little bit of a RPG element when you come across this tile. So so it's cool. I like that. Set that aside for now. All right, keep going. Okay, now you see what we have here. We have side bag tokens. Every character will have a side bag token. Like, for example, these will be able to hold 5 tokens. So those tokens that you see up here, like your meat and your ale and your throwing axes, this would hold those items, and then these can be upgraded. You can upgrade them to a side bag that holds up to 7 tokens. So we'll take these side tokens and place them over here with our camp gear. And then we have another tile. Looks very unique. This is the Norseland. So it was like a cave there, okay, and like sort of a bloodied area. That looks like something is living in there and has, you know, there's some bones that look like they've been covered up. Yeah, so that's cool. And then the other side is the target library, sorry. All right, cool. All right, now the next damage is sanity. These tokens, you'll have some that represent 5 damage, some that represent just single damage. We'll put all those together. And then get them all up here. And then you also have these corruption. You can take corruption damage when you have been exposed to too much darkstone or other events. So get enough corruption and you can mutate or go insane. There's lots of things that corruption can do to you. So we'll take the corruption, we'll find a nice little section maybe. Where should we put this? We'll put them back here for now. I may reorganize that later. And then right here are scavenge tokens. As you go across each tile, minus the sort of the passageways in between, you can scavenge and find items, find loot, or find nasty stuff. So we'll take these and place them in their own little slot. Put it right there for now. Okay, so we're 4 down. Those over here. All right. Okay, now you see where we have our tentacles. So these are another monster. Now I will prefer, will preferably use, and you can use these. This is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with these. I just like the miniatures for these. So I have some already that I can use. I may get some more just to paint them up sort of for a Norse cold environment. And I'm going to put these in their own little section. As long as I can find one that'll hold all of them, which I think will be this end cap there. Also grab and replace these the archive towers and put them in there as well. Okay. All right, and another large map tile here. And each one of these map tiles has an associated card in the dungeon deck or the Norselands deck that would tell you when to place this. So when you pull it, then you would pull this card or pull this tile. All right, we get more pelts. Lots of more pelts. Put the pelts up here. Oh man, look at all the items we have now. This is a lot more items than I'm used to, I think. I don't know if they have this. They may have, yeah, they seem to have more items in the Gates of Valhalla. All right, so let's punch all these throwing axes. We already looked at that. We already have a spot for those. Oops. And we'll place them. Where are we going to place them? I thought I had a section already. I think I'm already going to. I've got it mixed up. Okay, so I'm going to take this corruption, put the corruption down here for now. Let's go back. There we go. We'll place our axes here. And then we've got... All right, let's do our bandages. So bandages, you can discard these to heal D6 wounds. So roll a D6 die. And that's how many wounds you will heal. Got all those punched. And then I'm going to add, I think I'm going to add another divider over here. So you can see these dividers really sort of, I just like the way this helps me organize, because there are so many. I mean, you could use plastic bags, but good Lord, you're going to have a lot of plastic bags. I just like the way this is able, you know, one of these organizers really helps you to get everything sorted. All right, so this is tonic. Discard to recover grit. So you can use this to gain your grit back, which is nice because grit is incredibly important to have. And then you also have a potion. I don't know if I've seen the potion before. Yeah, so the potion, discard to add +2 to one of your skills. Oh, interesting. Until the end of the turn. Interesting. Yeah, that's oh, I like that. All right. So that is a new one. Okay. And then we've got our exotic herbs. All right. Punch those. And I'll probably put those with the herbs. So the exotic herbs, discard to remove D3 corruption points. And then you've got the healing herbs that discard to heal 2d6 wounds. Nice. That's really powerful. And I'm going to do one more divider here. Actually, yeah. One more divider. I get that here. I'm going to place them all together. All right. So again, done with another board. We're getting there. I've got, looks like 3 more to go. So we're going to punch more of our pelts. Oh, these are smaller pelts now. I can tell these are smaller. That's okay. We'll put them all together. Oh, there we go. Throwing axe. Place that here. Oh, there's a bunch of these. All right. Well, we're going to have to be hunting some beasties. We get plenty of pelts. Because, you know, that's what us Vikings do. That's what we do. All right. Now we've got a number of, so like this right here, this section right here would typically be one, if I'm not mistaken, where you might not necessarily be able to scavenge. That's typically like a tile that is a hallway or, you know, a sort of a, but it's usually these larger ones that you'll be able to scavenge. This is double-sided, and this is also a little bit different. It's got that skeletal remains of some creature there. And this is a 3-way section. Again, double-sided. Okay. Oh, that one punched pretty quick. All right. And that is out. All right. And as I said, yeah, we were gonna have always gonna have a lot of wound tokens. We're gonna punch all these. You know, and you can see it goes by pretty quick. I mean, if you're gonna play the game, I definitely recommend trying to get organized as much as possible. This is a card and token heavy game, but it can be a little less, I mean, it can be more wieldy, you know, when you have it organized properly, or at least to your standards, so that you can, you know, get it to the table without it being too much of a hassle. All right. Now we're doing all our sanity tokens. Getting all those. Another map tile. This is another big dungeon tile here. I like that, sort of like, it looks like a frozen, you know, statue of sorts. And then it's double-sided. I love the Target library. It looks really cool, this artwork. So excited for that. Oh, more sanity tokens. Okay, we're getting there. And again, you can see they punch really easy. So that is nice that they do punch it. You know, sometimes they'll leave, you know, a little bit. And this doesn't bother me. It might bother other people, but you have sort of that little, there's like a little bit of a chad there at the top. It, you know, it doesn't bother me though. So, all right. All right, that is done. Ah, look at that. We've moved pretty quickly on this. And this one has a lot of good items and things here to show you. So let's get the stuff we've already done out first. So let's get these pelts out. Okay. And let's place them right here with the rest of the pelts. Our little oxen dudes. Oh, and here are some Viking warriors. So some tokens for the Viking warriors. So we'll place them. Actually, we're going to place them, and then all our heroes, we're going to get them their own section down here. And then we have another. Okay, so this is your starting tile. This is where you'll always start in the Norselands. And then this is the starting tile for your target library. So nice. All right. So this is a very, you'll use this a lot, this one. Okay. These are tokens for your heroes if they've, sort of perished or they're unconscious, they've been knocked out. You'll use these to mark where they lay, because you can use things to bring them back into the light, bring them back from Valhalla to continue their plight. So probably add those also to the other heroes there. And then, oh yeah, here's some revive tokens. So depending on how many characters you start with, if you're only playing with one character, I think you start with 2, or if you're playing with, and then 2 to 3, I think you get 1. So these revive tokens are basically, it's essentially a extra life if one of your characters or main character goes down. So we'll put these, I think for right now, we'll just put them over here. There you go. No, we'll put it back over there. All right, and then, all right, so these are the exploration tokens, and I'll sort of maybe talk a little bit about this. Okay, and so as you're exploring, the main, you'll have these sort of set on there, so you can't see what's on them on this side right here, the exploration side. And then as you're going through the game, you're going to come across these exploration tokens. Now, and they all have different symbols. So this would mean you have 2 encounters, and then if you can see this, maybe I'm not. So if you can see that there are 2 doors, that means there's 2 exits on that particular map. So this map has 3, so it already means that you can go on both sides. But if you have the one that shows 4, you're going to block off one of those sections. But first, you got to get through those 2 encounters. You also see the exclamation. Those are usually a part of the mission. And then you also see, I believe that's one of our portals to the other world. So that would spawn one of those. And that is usually that also spawning an encounter or enemies. Yep. So you'll see these are all different. Oh, a darkness encounter. And this is sort of a surprise. You've been attacked, a surprise attack. Now, an ambush attack. So again, a depth event encounter. Okay, so these are all random. You'll shuffle these up, and then as you're going through the mission, you're trying to, your goal is a lot of times is to find these exclamation icons here that are part of the mission. That sort of triggers the story event or mission event. So anyway, so these are your exploration counters, and we'll put them right here for now. Okay, and then we've got just some numbers here. I don't know, I can't remember what those are exactly for, but I do believe they may be able to mark missions or encounters or things like that happen. So we've got those. Let's probably add those. I'll put them in there for their own section right now. And then finally, you have your depth track, right? So your depth track is going to be how you track the progress of the game. See if you can see that. So you'll start. This is your hero party marker that I have here. And we're going to put that. So you would start this on the entrance. And then you have your darkness marker. This marks the position of the darkness on the depth track and moves up the track over the course of the game. So, and so each turn, so every, I guess you say every round, you're going to roll, you're trying to hold back the darkness, right? This is sort of things escalating. Evil is sort of this malevolent force is sort of growing and bringing madness and fear and evil, and it's trying to escape. And as you sort of explore the tiles and get deeper into your exploration or dungeon, or you're moving up the depth track here, this darkness, you're trying to hold this back as much as possible. And as this comes down, you'll have different events and cards, right? So, and then maybe I can sort of show you real quickly. As I flip through here. Yeah. So let's just say we roll 2d6. I'm trying to get a 7 or better to hold back this darkness. Now, if I fail that, the darkness moves 1 up, right? Up the depth track. So we've got a torch. So this is I'm sorry, let me show you if I can show you. So you'll have one of your characters will be carrying this torch in the Shadows of Brimstone. So the original games, they have a lantern, but this torch is one person will roll. Some cards and some items and things like that will give you better possibilities of holding back the darkness. So these blood splatter tokens, as you get, for example, if you move here, if it moves farther down, this is called a growing dread space, and so you would have a growing dread card that you would pull, and then if you ever I'm sorry, did I say growing dread? Yeah, I meant here's what's immediately you draw a darkness card when it goes here, and then you have the growing dread cards. Once you reach it's listed here, you'll grab one of those growing dread cards, and that gets added to the end of the mission. So like you'll face those cards at the end of the mission. Ideally, you want to try and keep this back as far as possible, but obviously it's a roll. So you're sort of you're it's a way to keep you from slow rolling the mission. It keeps the pace of things going. And that's what this whole depth track is, and it increases the difficulty. So if you're taking your time, if you're not trying, and you can, right? But it's sort of competing against the mission, and it's competing against you. And if this ever gets to the very end and you haven't beaten the mission, basically you'll lose, right? So you always want to keep this from reaching the entrance from where you came in. So anyway, I think that gives you just a quick little, thoughts or quick explanation of what the depth track is. So for that, we'll go ahead and just put these 2 tokens. I'll put it right here with the corruption. And then what I would probably do for this piece here is I can either, if I'm going to keep it, I could keep it in here, I think, without bending it, but I may just leave it with our map tiles. All right. Yeah, so there we go. I have punched everything for the Gates of Valhalla box here. And so this is give you a little idea of how I've sorted things. There, you can sort of, if this is something you decide to do, make it your own. But this sort of keeps things in order, and also the more expansions and additional accessories that you get, they usually come with more tokens. So you'll continue to build this up. You may even need, in fact, you probably will need another one of these at some point. I usually have one of these or more with each game or each Shadows of Brimstone major box set. So, all right. There we go. What do you think? So we punched everything. We've got all that ready to go. I think my next sort of video, I think we'll start working on our miniatures. But for today, we've punched everything. we've got that sorted. So we're one step closer to getting the game to the table. Let me know if this is something that you like, this sort of unboxing, you know, I shouldn't say unboxing, this token punch video and discussion where we talk about the different items and tokens, the map tiles, the game itself. If that's something you want to see for other games or future content as well in the Shadows of Brimstone universe, let me know in the comments. But yeah, so there we are. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this content. I plan to bring in more Gates of Valhalla, or more Shadows of Brimstone Gates of Valhalla content. This is a game that I'm incredibly excited to get to the table. So if you like what you're seeing, if this is the content that you are enjoying, please like and subscribe. I would surely appreciate it. It'll keep the channel growing. And yeah, it gives me the motivation to keep making these videos. So, well, that's it for today. My name is David. This is Two-Handed Board Gaming. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.